everybody, welcome to Wild Boy Movies, the place to talk movies. And today, we're going to be reviewing Godzilla x Kong, The New Empire, the latest installment of the Monsterverse. Right now, I'm going to have some information up on screen for you to read, like director, runtime, and PAA rating. All of that will be up on screen for you to read right now. But be sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and comment down below what you thought about Godzilla x Kong, The New Empire. But without further ado, let's get right into the pros. Alright, starting things off, this movie is just very fun and entertaining to watch. Like, this has gotta be the most entertaining movie out of the entire Monsterverse. Like, there's a lot of fun action between different kaijus, or as they're referred to in the Monsterverse, Titans, that is just such a blast to watch on screen. And there are plenty of fun and enjoyable monster fights in this movie. Particularly for me, the final battle had to be like the best action sequence of the entire movie. There were a lot of other fun monster fights in this movie, like Kong vs. Skull King or Godzilla vs. Kong Round 2. Like, it just made the movie a lot more fun and entertaining to watch. I also gotta go ahead and praise Hollow Earth in this movie because visually it looks fantastic. Like, this is definitely a world that I definitely would not mind exploring in the Monsterverse and any future installments. Like, this is essentially the Pandora for the Monsterverse. There are a lot of interesting things with Hollow Earth that I want to see explored with the next Monsterverse movie that will be coming out in 2027. Another big pro I can give this movie is the lore of the movie, because they set up some interesting things that I definitely would want to see later on in the Monsterverse. Particularly, they set up the origin of Skull King, the villain of the movie, and how it's basically how he started the war between Godzilla and Kongs. And I definitely would want to see a whole prequel movie of that setup on how the war between Kongs and Godzillas started in the first place. He also has some interesting lore with like the people living in Hollow Earth, where they have a connection to Mothra, who does return in this movie after being absent for 5 years since we last saw her in Godzilla King of the Monsters. That made me really appreciate like some of the lore that they set up throughout the Monsterverse, and like I said, would want to see further expanded in these next few Monsterverse projects. Another pro I can give the movie is Skull King, because he is such an amazing villain. Like, definitely the best villain that we've gotten in the Monsterverse. Like, he is such like an awesome villain, from his design to his fighting style and how he's basically the one who started the war between Godzilla and Kongs. I definitely really enjoyed this villain. The scenes that we got of Skull King, he was such an awesome character that I definitely would have wished that we would have gotten more of. Because he first appears in the movie like halfway through the movie, so I would have wished that we would have seen more of him, but I'm not really complaining because he was a very awesome character in the movie. I also gotta go ahead and praise Godzilla in the movie because he was the best that we've seen of him throughout the Monsterverse, because not only does he get an awesome evolution design, but he also has a lot of fun action sequences in the movie, particularly when he's teamed up with Kong and fighting Shimu. And speaking of Shimu, she was also a very cool character to see. Like, I definitely hope that we see Shimu later on in the Monsterverse timeline. But the biggest pro I can give this movie is Kong, because what Adam Wingard did with the Kong character, I absolutely loved it, because he did like a perfect job of dealing with the character of Kong and how he feels a bit lonely down in Hollow Earth, to where he meets Zuko and this ape society that is in Hollow Earth ruled by Skull King. Like Adam Wingard just did like an amazing job with the Kong character 2 times in a row, that I would not mind him directing a solo Kong movie. That would definitely have my interest up because I love what he did with the Kong character in the last 2 MonsterVerse movies. Seriously, he did such an amazing job with the Kong character. So yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. I thought of it to be like one of the best films of the series, but at the same time, there were some things holding it back from being the best film out of the entire MonsterVerse franchise, leading me to my cons. Alright, starting off, I gotta talk about the human characters in this movie because although they weren't bad, they weren't the best of the MonsterVerse. Like, I think the characters that we saw in like Godzilla King of the Monsters are still some of the best human characters of the MonsterVerse, at least in my opinion. But you do have some standouts, like Ryan Tyree Henry continues to be like this fun character of Bernie the podcaster, and he also got the new introduction of Dan Stevens in this franchise, who's essentially a kaiju veterinarian. But the human stuff was kind of holding it back for me and were kind of like the least entertaining part of this movie, particularly when our human characters went down into Hollow Earth. That to me was kind of when the human characters were kind of not the best of the movie. I unfortunately also have to put Godzilla into the cons because although yes, I admit Godzilla was an awesome part of the movie, he just felt like he didn't have that much to do. Like I will admit, they do sprinkle in a lot of Godzilla to where it feels like he is like a vital character throughout. I just wish that Godzilla was in the movie a little bit longer than he was. And lastly, Skull King. Now, I am kind of mixed on Skull King, but while I admit he was such an awesome character and the best villain of the MonsterVerse, I kind of felt like that he wasn't that big of a threat for Godzilla to get involved with. Like there were a lot of speculations that Skull King was gonna have like similar atomic breath to Godzilla, and I thought, okay, that would definitely warrant Godzilla and Kong teaming up to fight Skull King, but really the reason Godzilla teams up with Kong in the movie is because Skull King has control over Shimu. I felt like Skull King should have been like a bigger threat than he was in the actual movie. But I just felt like he should have been more of a bigger threat than he actually was in the movie. But even with those cons, I still really enjoyed this movie and consider it to be one of the best films that we've gotten in the MonsterVerse. And I'm definitely very excited to see where they go with the MonsterVerse moving forward. So for my scorecard, I'm gonna give the movie 4 stars, with the out of 10 score being 8.5 out of 10, with the percentage being 85%, with a grade of B, with my final verdict being a blast of entertaining monster mayhem. But that was my review for Godzilla x Kong: The New Empire. I definitely want to hear from you guys. What did you think about this movie? Did you like it or did you hate it? Let me know down in the comment section, and while you're at it, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video, and have a great day.